The Renaissance changed the world in just about every way one can think of. This rebirth was also seen in fashion with the sudden change in trends and style, which were fueled by passion for novelty. Fashion was a way in which people expressed their feelings and mood. It also reflected what wanted to be seen and the ideals and values of a society. The society of the Renaissance era expressed many materialistic values through the use of fashion. Women's fashion of the Renaissance can be described as flamboyant and elaborated, consisting of rich fabrics like fur, fine lustrous silk taffeta, and good brocade worn by the elite. The overall silhouette for women was fitted long flowing dresses with high waists and low puffy sleeves. Women wore corsets, which gave them a desirable sudden slenderness to the waist. Voluptuousness was not the only reason for women to embrace fashion, though. A far greater motive, the desire for self expression, was evident in their choice of clothing. Take sleeves as an example. Sleeves could be tight, tapered, wide wing like, or in a trumpet style, depending on what mood women tried to express. Sleeves were often decorated with different ornaments and embroidery. Outfits consisted of many different materials and fabrics that varied throughout each class. Lots of items were banned from being worn specifically by lower classes because of sumptuary laws, which we will get into later on. The upper class wore fabrics that were rare, like silk, lace, fur, and velvet. Expensive dyes were reserved for them as well. Middle class women did not dress as luxurious as the upper class. They wore certain silk, satin, and damask fabrics. Lower class outfits were made of cheap materials like linen, wool, and sheepskin. It was often whatever they could afford. Most women dressed in multiple layers. The top layer, called the kirtle, was a type bodice which was tended to be heavily adorned with embroidery in silver and gold thread and precious gems like sapphires and pearls. Among the favorite colors were deep red scarlet and deep blue. These rich, vibrant colors were often boldly juxtaposed in one outfit to create a striking and sumptuous appearance. Speaking of hair pieces, women wore their hair in many different interesting ways. Some would pluck hairs from their hairline to make their forehead seem taller. Some would even twist their hair tightly up into two horns to make it look like they were coming off their heads. What shoes women wore was also very important. Wealthy women wore extravagant footwear such as platform shoes. They often hid their shoes under their long dresses, while working women wore simple flat shoes that were often cheap and sturdy. Fashion style in the Renaissance era was greatly influenced by Queen Elizabeth I. Queen Elizabeth was obsessed with trends in fashion. She realized early on that rich cloths and fashionable attire would help attain authority and respect of the materialistic people she governed. Clothing was certainly a reflection of wealth and social standing. It was an immediate indicator of one's station in life. The sumptuary law dictated what could be worn and by whom. Depending on your class, one was only allowed to wear certain dresses or outfits. Purple silk and sable fur were strictly reserved for the queen, king, and their family members, and velvet was only for the highest nobility. Lower class women wore fewer layers, looser corset, in cheaper material, with much less ornamentation, with no restrictive collars, and often wore simple head coverings. Wealth and social rank were easily distinguished with the help of precious garments. The law also helped the ruler to preserve the class distinction and curb attempts of upwards migration of middle and lower class. Renaissance witnessed rebirth in fashion and, more importantly, the birth of power dressing. This was when it began to matter what people wore because clothing differentiated social classes during the Renaissance. Power, wealth, and fashion were deeply embedded and intertwined in the society. The upper class dictated fashion, the middle and lower class copied details of elite style as sumptuous laws permit. The structures of wealth and fashion differences were greater than ever. The Renaissance changed the world of fashion forever.